Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen we're making some delicious cheese ravioli from scratch. So let's get started. First off, we're gonna make our pasta, and it is so easy. Start off by weighing your flour. You want 2¼ cups or 270 grams of all-purpose. Lovely. I'm using all-purpose today, but if you want to use 00 or your favorite flour for making pasta, go ahead. Scale is done for the moment. Your pasta will be assembled on your clean countertop, not in any vessel. So just dump it out onto the counter. You have like a little volcano of flour right now. Grab a measuring cup and create a well. Just like that. For some richness, we're adding a tablespoon of olive oil. This is so satisfying, by the way, it's really fun. Half a teaspoon of salt, just sprinkle that over. And now into the well, 3 eggs to hold it together. 1, 2, and 3. Grab a fork and start mixing it up. And what we want to do here is incorporate more and more flour until it's all incorporated. By the way, if you like my videos, hit that subscribe button. There's 2 new recipes every single week. As you continue mixing, you can kind of scooch more flour into the mix. And you can see it's kind of forming a thicker paste now. At this point, you have a much thicker mixture. I would call it kind of a thick slurry. And you can either use your clean hands or a bench scraper to start folding in the excess flour. Just like that. I'm gonna do both. There's something really satisfying about making your own pasta. Yes, you could go to a store and buy it and it would be okay, but this is actually fun to do. You know everything that's going in. It's freshly made with no preservatives, and you can make the filling exactly as you please. You could use your favorite cheeses, you could add your favorite herbs, make it spicy, make it mild. It's up to you because you're making it. And you could, of course, use the same recipe to make any kind of ravioli with like a meat filling or whatever else. Mushroom ravioli. So use your bench scraper, scoot underneath and fold it down. Scoot and fold, scoot and fold. The flour will get incorporated pretty quickly, and we're moving towards having a shaggy mixture. We want to end up with a beautiful, smooth, bouncy dough, so it takes a little bit of work. It's come together, so let's start kneading it. Just start moving that flour around, building up the structure of the gluten. It might be sticky, so feel free to flour your hands as needed. Your dough will feel fairly stiff at first, but as you keep working and kneading, it'll loosen up a bit and smooth itself out. When I'm kneading, I use my palm, press it forward, fold it and press forward, and keep that going. So here I have a rough ball, but if I press it, that bounce back could be a bit better. So I want it to spring back when I press down. You'll be kneading for about 10 minutes, maybe 15. Excellent workout. We'll be right back with the magic of editing. I'll show you what the finished product should look like. You're just doing this, nothing else happens. A little bit of kneading and a lot of bit of gabbing later. I'm finally done, and you can see I have a nice little ball, and if I press down, it's bouncing right back up. The gluten's been formed, it has a nice structure, so it's ready to wrap. However, this is like a springy little ball. If we tried to roll it out now, it would just shrink right back. Time will let the gluten relax so that we can roll this out nicely. At least 1 hour on the countertop, up to 3, or pop it into your fridge and you could leave it up to a day. Not too long though, because this will start to oxidize and change color. So overnight's fine, not longer than that, please. Wrap this tightly in plastic or beeswax coated cloth if you have it. I need to buy more. Set this aside. While this relaxes, I'm gonna make the filling. At any point in the rest time for your pasta, you could make the filling because this holds in the fridge really easily. Today I'm using a combination of Parmesan, ricotta, and fresh mozzarella. It's always better to freshly grate your cheeses because if you're buying them pre-grated, they're mixed with cellulose, which is just like wood pulp basically, which is fine. You get some extra fiber, but freshly grated cheese will just taste better and it'll mix better too. For the parm, I want 1/3 cup or 27 grams. And then for the mozzarella, I don't have the dexterity to open this container. It's sad when packaging breaks you. Okay. For the fresh mozzarella, I want about 3 ounces or 84 grams. None of this has to be exact so you're making a cheese filling. Nothing will go wrong. It'll just be a little bit cheesier or more filled. Yeah, that's close. You will have some snacking cheese. Feel free to enjoy as is. Grab some olives or have a pizza night. Give this a small dice. Dice, 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 dice. There we go. Nice and finely diced. Add that in. And now the ricotta. You'll want whole milk ricotta for this. It is so beautiful and rich. It's basically like cream. Specifically 2/3 cup, 165 grams. A traditional flavoring here will be nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon, and I'm freshly grating mine. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If you're making fresh pasta and you're not salting your water, that better be well salted like the ocean. 1/4 teaspoon or so of cracked black pepper. If you wanted to add any of your favorite herbs, head on over to the garden, give it a fresh chop and plop it in, or if you're using dried, just sprinkle away. I don't like sage unless it's fried. You could add fried sage in here or fresh sage if you love that. Parsley is a nice traditional choice. Maybe some finely chopped dill, oregano, garlic. All these will add lovely flavors in here. My scale is done. Notice how much less cleanup there is because you're using a scale. All those measuring cups would have been in the wash. The ricotta really holds everything together nicely. Once it's all mixed, grab a piping bag or a plastic bag that you're gonna snip the tip off of. Transfer this into your bag. If you don't have piping bags handy, you could just spoon the filling in, but you will want to refrigerate this in a covered container while we wait for the pasta to be ready. Okay, into the fridge, and we'll be right back. My dough is rested, and you can see, look at this, it's like a little beautiful puddle. It's not so tense anymore. Grab a lined baking sheet, and we're going to pop a piece of parchment paper on and lightly dust it with semolina flour. Set that aside. We'll be dividing our pasta dough into 4 equal pieces. 1. There we go. I'm gonna leave the other pieces loosely wrapped in plastic while we work so they don't dry out. Now, this requires you to either have your KitchenAid mixer with the pasta attachment, or you would be doing this by hand. If you're doing it by hand, the steps are fairly similar, but you're just rolling it out to like a thinner and thinner height. By the way, if these start off with kind of like a squarish shape, it works out a little bit better for you. It'll work out in the end in any case, but I think it just makes it a bit easier. Lowest setting, set to number 1. Pass this through once. Now we're gonna fold it in half and pass it through again. Now we're gonna fold it again and pass it through a second time. Now pass it through without folding 2 more times. If you're a pro at rolling out pasta, you can skip ahead to the below time mark and get to the assembly. Now go down to number 2, sprinkle your dough lightly with semolina, and pass it through twice more. Okay, now adjust to the next highest setting, so we're going up to 3 now, and pass it through twice more, and you'll repeat this process until you get all the way down to 8, which is the thinnest setting. If you have an air bubble, just grab a knife and pierce. Down to 4, 5, 6, 7, and we finally made our way to 8. The pasta's delicate right now, so just be careful not to let it rip, because gravity will pull it down. This is very long and almost unmanageable, so very lightly dust with semolina. Now we're gonna fold this up, place it onto our baking sheet, and cover it with a tea towel so it doesn't dry out. Grab your next piece of pasta and repeat for all the pasta pieces. My pasta has all been rolled out now, so it's time to unravel it. Grab your second piece of pasta and we're gonna lay it directly above. Now trim your pasta so it's even. This is not trash. We're just gonna make a couple more ravioli from it separately. Grab your cheese filling and trim the edge of the piping tip. Before you pipe, brush the excess semolina away. This was here so that the pasta didn't stick, and you should use a nice healthy amount of semolina or your pasta will stick. Now that we've dusted our pasta, we can add 1.5 teaspoon sized dollops about 1.5 inches apart. Here we go. If you pipe in the incorrect space, you can just move your dollops around. There's no big secret here. Now grab a brush and some water, and we're going to brush water onto the other sheet. The water will be the glue that holds the pasta together. And you should work in pairs, so don't try and do this all at once. Otherwise, your pasta will dry out and not handle very nicely. Start cracking. So now we're going to flip this over, water side down. And if this seems like it's a bit much for you, you could have easily cut this up into smaller pieces so it's easier to flip. Plop that over. I'm just gonna turn this upside down and worry about fixing it later. Okay, now you can stretch a little bit as needed. So gently stretch the pasta so that the edges meet a little bit better, and then do that on the other side. Add a little bit more water if needed. And just remember, you're a person at home. You are not a pasta factory. This does not have to look perfect. It's homemade pasta, so it will look nice and homemade. You can press down the cheese a little bit, by the way. It's kind of high right now. Air bubbles can cause the ravioli to burst, so right down the middle, I can add a little hole for venting. That's all I need. So press all around the cheese to get the air out. There's a bubble, so I'm just gonna press there. If you do poke holes, just press firmly over them after the air is gone so they don't kind of open up. Either using a pastry cutter, a knife, or a pie crimper, you're going to now trim these all up. So cut around the edge and then we can separate them. Right, now you can go down the center and you can see, especially with the pie crimper, things look so much nicer. It's looking a little bit too organic, but it's gonna be delicious. Carefully go down the center. The crimper is cutting and sealing your pasta. And now separate your ravioli out. Back to your lined baking sheet, a little bit more semolina. And you're gonna transfer your ravioli over here to hang out and dry a bit. They've been through a lot, they need some rest. Just be gentle with them at this point. The top, even though it's thinner, is more firm as it's dried out a bit. The bottom is quite delicate. And if you have any kind of long edge of pasta, you can trim that away a bit right now, if that bothers you. Repeat this process with the remaining 2 sheets of ravioli. These guys need at least 15 minutes to dry a bit and chill. Sprinkle the tops with a little bit more semolina. You have 2 choices with these ravioli. You can let them hang out on the countertop for 15 minutes to dry and rest, then slide them right into a big pot of well-salted boiling water. Or let them dry on the countertop for 30 to 45 minutes, then place them straight into the freezer just like this, freeze solid, and transfer to a freezer bag where you can boil them from frozen. We all feel like having a delicious treat right now, so let's get a big pot, fill it with water, and get these cooking. It's been 15 minutes. I brought a big pot of water to boil. I have some sauce here in a pan all warmed up and ready, and it's time to salt the water. Very nice. Ooh, beautiful. Your ravioli are ready to go into the boiling water. They should boil for 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how dry your pasta is and how al dente you like it. Once all your ravioli are in there and the water has come back to a boil, reduce to medium heat, and you'll be stirring this occasionally just so things don't get stuck together. It is important to have your sauce at the ready. It could be any sauce. A delicious flavored butter with cheese, a red sauce like we're doing today, or even an Alfredo. Whatever it is, just make sure it's nice and warm and ready because your ravioli will go directly into the sauce and then directly into somebody's mouth. When they're out of the water, they will be very sticky, and if they are just left dry, they'll stick together in a clump. By the way, I highly recommend a browned butter sauce with some fried sage and shredded pecorino romano. Delicious. Ooh, and maybe some like little pieces of roasted butternut squash. Yes, something like that. So excited that none of these exploded. They are all intact. Now grab a spider or a slotted spoon and we will directly place these into our waiting sauce. I'm using this today, but a slotted spoon's better because this has all these pointy edges, so it could tear. If you're not sure if your pasta's done, take one ravioli, give it a taste. How nice to enjoy and or serve homemade ravioli. You could make any flavor you want. It's the exact same process, and I guarantee it'll be better than anything you had store-bought. Shower these in sauce. Serve immediately, and just like that, your cheese ravioli are ready to enjoy. Perfectly al dente, and unlike all those other cheese ravioli, this one is full of flavor. It is so delicious. I hope you get a chance to make this easy recipe, and if you like my videos, hit that subscribe button and check out my pasta playlist.